Yo guys, what is up? Welcome back to the new video. I'm the Casual Racing Gamer. Today we are going to be talking about the driving physics update in update 1.49 for GT7. So I had a little bit of time to actually drive. I've been doing some daily race B at Spa, and I haven't had the greatest finishes, but it is what it is. If we do bad, we do bad. We do good, we do good. But you know, the fun of it is just racing. So you know, like I always say, driver rating goes up, driver rating goes down. We just have fun, and that's what it's all about. But we're gonna talk about the new physics, and I'm gonna give it to you from, you know, as a casual racer. I'm gonna give you the dummied down version, how I like to interpret things in simplicity. Very simple terms, simple forms, how I feel like when I'm driving, the differences that I feel, and how I feel like I'm gonna need to adapt in GT7 to the new physics. But first, if you're racing in PSVR2, you know, I got a couple comments already saying that they feel like they noticed a difference in clarity within the actual range that you actually see. So with the eye tracking, supposedly they're saying that you can see a little bit more clearer of more things within the screen. It's not such a small spot that's clear and everything else is blurred out. More things are coming into that clarity circle or box, as opposed to before. You know, is it a placebo effect? I don't know, guys. Leave a comment down below. You know, try to actually look for it, see if you notice it. I think it, you know, I can say, yeah, it looks clearer in certain things that I can see more outside of a smaller zone that looks clearer, but I honestly, I don't know. I don't know if it's just a placebo. It's really hard to say if you don't compare it side by side, because obviously we can't look back at the old version to the new version. But one thing I said that I noticed was, you know, driving the Porsche with the actual wheel, I feel like the wheel itself, when I'm driving, looking out the front windshield, that the more of the wheel is, and again, it's just what I think I remember, but I could be totally wrong. I feel like more of the wheel is now clear and it's not as much blurred out as opposed to before, where most of the, you know, I felt like the wheel was more blurry unless I looked down at it to actually see the wheel, where it became clear. Now when I'm looking out my windshield, I feel like maybe the wheel is more clear in my peripheral vision below and to the things to the side. And just, I don't know, guys. I'm curious what you guys think. Again, this isn't something that is said has been done. They didn't mention any updates in PSVR2. There's just some comments that people have been saying, and then I just try to see if I personally noticed anything. But again, it's hard to really say unless you go side by side. But let me know what you guys think, if you guys have noticed it, or maybe you thought you noticed it and you're like, nah, they didn't change anything, but maybe they actually did. Who knows? But obviously that's a good thing if people are thinking that maybe things are looking a little more clearer in a wider range while you're racing. That's definitely a good thing, right? But I'm just surprised they wouldn't actually mention anything about graphic update or fidelity update for anything with you know, for PSVR2 users. But moving on to the new physics in 1.49. Do I like it? I like it. I am going to say I like it. Now, I know, again, these are going to be opinions, and I could be totally wrong with things that I say, but obviously an opinion can't really be wrong, right? It's just my opinion. You cannot agree with it, but it's just an opinion. So, and you guys have left your opinion. Some of you guys say it's great. Some of you guys say you love it. Some people are complaining about certain things that needs to be fixed, that they're not being, you know, so everyone's going to have a different feel on it. Do I think it made things easier or harder? First, I'm going to say, I think it made things harder. I think it puts more on a driving skill, the way that the way that the physics have been updated. And what do I mean by that? Well, for me, I think you need to now drive the car with your brakes. Before, the game was very forgiving with the way that you used your brakes. If you just slammed your brakes and you didn't really release your brakes at the correct proper time while trail braking, while shifting down gears while you're braking, the car was very stable. It was very forgiving. You can really do a lot of things with your brakes and your gears, and the car would not lose control. The car was, it was a very stable car. It was very hard to lose control breaking into corners and turns and stuff, but I feel like that's changed. And it was the one thing whenever I would play like iRacing and then say the differences I felt between GT7 was, in iRacing, your driving is the braking. I've always mentioned the braking is so different in iRacing that you really drive the car with your brakes, where GT7 never felt that way. you were able to just really slam on those brakes at any time, any moment, and your car would just not, your car was still stable. Now you really need to trail brake carefully. You really need to slow down. And I feel like even like weight transfer of the car is playing more of a role here with keeping the stability of the car and not losing the car. I feel like also in there is how you downshift as well. I feel like if you downshift too early now while you're actually entering into a turn, it's very easy to lose the car. I feel like your speed and your downshifting and your braking are playing a lot more of a role in driving the car, making things, you know, for now more complicated. But I think it's actually a good thing. You really need to start honing in on these skills to really be able to keep control of your car. So I think it feels more like iRacing or even more like Automobilista 2 now, where your braking is extremely important. I find that in some of these turns entering that, you know, where I would normally come in, you know, I would be, let's say I'm driving down into 5th gear and I shift all the way down to 2nd. I could still be stable at 2nd, but now I feel like I need to kind of really trail, start my turn in on 3rd gear, release my brake, and then like shift down to 2nd, even after my foot's off my brake, as opposed to where before I can just totally shift down to 2nd gear, turn in and be fine. Now I kind of have to trail brake on some of these turns, slow down to 3rd gear, start actually turning in, releasing the brake after my trail, and then actually shifting down to 2nd to not lose the car. It's just different ways of keeping the car stable, and you know, I think that's a good thing. In my last video, you know, I mentioned that, you know, I think fast guys are still going to be fast, the medium guys are still going to be medium, the slow guys are still going to be medium. You're going to learn to adapt to the different driving skills, but you know, the fast guys know how to do this stuff. So I don't think it's going to slow any of the fast guys down. I think the slower drivers might have a little harder time because usually lower level drivers might have struggle with proper trail braking and along with proper downshifting techniques. So it might take a little more time for them to adapt. And then the guys in the middle, kind of, you know, I kind of consider myself like one of those people in the middle where, you know how to drive a car, you know how to trail brake, you're just not the fastest. So I think, you know, we'll adapt, we'll do it. But I think the actual feel of the car feels more like driving something in iRacing. Because again, iRacing is extremely heavy on your braking skills. Now, as far as acceleration, because we talk about braking and you know, you control the car with your brakes and your gears that more than your steering wheel. So I'll talk about the steering. Actually talk about the steering wheel in a minute. But the thing here is with acceleration, I didn't feel much difference as far as accelerating. You know, I've always been a light accelerator as opposed to just always slamming on my acceleration. Because I feel like your skill level when you know you can really slam on your pedal, I think the faster guys, that's what they're good at. They're good at accelerating exactly when you need to accelerate, and they know exactly where to push that car to really just push that pedal to the metal. I've always been a slower type of accelerator, always wanted to feel control of my car, feel the grip before I actually just really slammed it down. So I think the acceleration, at least for my driving style, is not where I feel the biggest notice or change in the car handling. Again, for me, it's all within the braking and also the way you downshift in accordance to your braking and just the weight transfer of the car. So there's those times when you feel like, you know, your car you're losing grip because you're still on your brakes where you probably should have released your brakes. But I think before, when you were on your brakes where you probably should have released them, the car would still have handling and still be stable, and you wouldn't lose it. So that's a big change now, right now. So what about the wheel? So I'm using a T-GT II, and there's a lot of discussion on different wheels and different, you guys gave me a lot of different feedback on your wheel. For a T-GT II, my wheel has definitely, I didn't really complain about it before, so I have no complaints about it. So I'm not saying, oh, it was terrible and it's really good now. I feel like the wheel has come alive more. I'm feeling more feedback in the wheel I'm definitely feeling more movement in the wheel. I'm definitely feeling, if you're driving on the side really close to the curb, I feel a lot more wiggle in the wheel, where before I was able, a lot of times on a straight, I was actually able to just let go of the wheel, or I can literally just hold it like with like 2 fingers and just drive straight. Now, if I notice on spots, if I actually let go of my wheel will go wild. It would actually go crazy. So you actually have to hold on to the wheel at a lot of times, where before it was kind of like, the wheel was dead in a lot of spots, and I feel like the wheel has come alive in a lot more spots now, where it's, not necessarily just feeling your car lose grip and things like that. I always felt that fine. I just feel like while driving it, I feel more of the road. I definitely feel like the road itself is giving me more feedback as to what's happening on the road, on the bumpy parts, on the curbs. So it's definitely something I'm feeling in the wheel, which is cool. Anytime we get more feedback, more feel in the wheel, it's definitely like a cool feeling. Now, I know guys who are using Logitech wheels, Fanatec wheels, depending on the wheel that you have. Some people have been complaining that it feels worse for them. Some people have saying that their wheel finally came alive. I think it was don't quote me on this, I think it was the Logitech that they unreleased 100% power in the feedback, where before they kind of nerfed it. So I think there's some extra feedback now that you can actually use with your wheel. I think it's the Logitech. Let me know, the Logitech Pro. Let me know in the comments if I got that right or wrong. I think that was the one. And then there was some other wheels. I don't know if it was the Logitech or the Fanatec, where people were saying they were updating their drivers because their wheel totally lost all like feedback and everything, and it felt terrible. So there was some other comments about people updating to the newest driver or something, and it just brought their wheel back to where it should be and feeling great and back to life. So there's definitely a lot of different opinions, different things going on with the different wheels and the different feelings. But for me, for the T-GT II, it actually feels really good. The feedback, the way you feel the road and everything just feels awesome. So that's just my little quick overview of the physics of the update, PSVR2 and the wheels update. And if you guys liked the video, thumb it up, subscribe. Let me know your comments down below on what you think of everything. And we'll catch you on the next one, guys. Thanks a lot. We out of here. Peace.